Hey folks, welcome to Bell Bites. My name is Scott Bell, and I hope that I can bring some very practical tidbits that you can take away and use for your business that'll better your sales and marketing efforts and quantification of the hard-earned dollars that you invest, in particular in digital marketing, which is where our experience lies. So we've really made a shift in the last 5 to 10 years in quantifying ad results for customers. So looking at return on ad spend. Traditionally, years ago, 10, 15 years ago, it was really hard to do. But now the data exists for us to really quantify. So what we've really tried to push with our customer base is understanding their business on a granular level so that you can understand how your sales and marketing efforts are trending, improving, or declining over a given period of time. The first place to start is something that we call the value equation. So what is the value equation? It's really looking at your sales and marketing efforts and seeing if they're providing more value for your business. The first place to start is understanding your customer acquisition cost. So it seems like a rather simple formula. It actually is a very simple formula, but you really need to start somewhere if you haven't done this for your business yet. So the question that we get asked a lot is, where should I start? Our recommendation is start by establishing some standard baselines from which you're going to collect data. So those baselines could be the time period. So if you're collecting data and you want to analyze this information to understand your customer acquisition cost, you need to say, okay, I'm going to look at the last 12 months. So that's my established time period. So first, establish the time periods with which you're going to look at. Next, you need to understand how much you've actually invested in your sales and marketing expense over that same time period. So add all of that up. And the third, during that same time period, how many new customers did you secure? So maybe you have a CRM, maybe you have a POS system, maybe you just keep it on spreadsheets. There's no right way or wrong way to do it, but just understanding how many new customers you secured during that time period is hugely important. So now you've established some baselines. I want to give you an example. This example is of a customer that spent $200,000 over the course of a year on all of their sales and marketing efforts. So what was included in that? Well, they had advertising campaigns, traditional and digital. They also had an outside sales team that they were paying and some other miscellaneous expenses that went into securing new customers. So $200,000 spent over the course of a year. And over that same time period, they secured 150 brand new customers for their business. So just knowing that, you're actually able to understand what your customer acquisition cost is. In this case, you take your customer acquisition cost, your total invested money in sales and marketing, and you divide it by the brand new customer count that you've established. And in this case, their customer acquisition cost is $1,333.34. So just to recap, sales and marketing expense divided by the total new customers secured during that same time period, and you get your customer acquisition cost. So just a quick tip that I want to provide, especially if you've never gone through this exercise before, is to start broad. Just like we look at digital marketing, start broad, see what's working, refine the process, and then continue to narrow down and become more sophisticated. So maybe you start with last year, and then you start narrowing it down and say, well, what was my customer acquisition cost for the third quarter? And then the fourth quarter. And then maybe you can get to a point where you're starting to look at it on a monthly basis so that you can see some trending averages. So that's it for this session. Next is the lifetime value of a customer and understanding and quantifying that. And we're also going to answer this: is the customer acquisition cost declining always the best thing for your business? So stay tuned.